Chapter 5, Introduction to Business. Business Communication, Creating and Delivering Messages that Matter. What you will learn. The importance of excellent business communication. The key elements of nonverbal communication. Comparing, contrasting, and choosing effective communication channels. What you will learn continues. Choosing the right words for effective communication. Writing more effective business memos, letters, and emails. Creating and delivering successful verbal presentations. Why I chose this chapter. The reason why I chose this chapter is because communication is key to making any business a success. Without communication, business couldn't become worldwide, become as successful as they are today, and fixing the problems they come across as quickly.
I sound like one of the
Communication barriers. The definition to communication barriers are obstacles to effective communication. As you can see, there are many types of barriers, such as physical, language, body language, perceptual, organizational, cultural barriers.
No.
As you can see, there is more information on each barrier. For example, physical barriers ranging from the way your surroundings are to the way things look to each person. If you are comfortable in a room and your visitor is not, that there can create a physical barrier. The next barrier is language barriers. If you can't speak their language, or you don't understand something as small as the slang of the area, that can create a language barrier.
I'm sorry.
Continuing from where we left off, the next barriers are body language barriers. Body language barrier is one of the most known barriers and causes most unintentional misunderstandings. Something as small as the way you hold yourself to something to the way you react to something can cause a barrier to go up. The next barrier is a perceptual barrier. Another very well-known barrier would be the perceptual barrier. It's how your audience understands what you're getting at. It could be a negative or positive outcome.
Are you sure it isn't a nose ring?
Here you can see on this slide are the last two barriers. One is the organizational barriers. Some barriers are actually good for the company, such as organizational barriers. They are similar to the unspoken rules that are made to keep things in order. The last barrier is the cultural barrier. The cultural barrier is one of the hardest barriers to overcome. Something that goes hand in hand is the intercultural communication. It's the communication between people of different cultural backgrounds. Nonverbal communication. The definition to nonverbal communication is communication that does not use words. As you can see, there are many types of nonverbal communication, such as eye contact, tone of voice, facial expression, gestures, and posture. Active listening. The definition to active listening is attentive listening that occurs when the listener focuses on his or her complete attention on the speaker. What you might not realize is that active listening and communication go hand in hand. Types of communication channels. The definition to communication channels is the various ways in which a message can be sent. As you can see, there are many different types of channels, such as memos, reports, emails, texting, voicemails, and telephone conversations.
I'm not sure. Are you reading that?
I'm reading this.
Also on the list of types of communication channels are video conferencing, in-person presentation, and face-to-face meetings. The right word. Picking the right words to send a message to someone in an office or to a manager or a CEO is always important. Here are tips to picking the right words. Analyze your audience, be concise, avoid slang, avoid bias, and use the active voice whenever possible. Information on the right words. Analyze your audience. When analyzing your audience, consider expectations. How or what are the people here for? And how would they perceive you? Education. How high is your education and your audience education? Profession. Their profession matters when it comes to an audience. Be concise. Being concise is very important when trying to get your point across to someone, and it becomes even more important in a company. But make sure it doesn't overrule your completeness. Include all information. Information on the right words continue. Avoid slang and bias. Avoid slang because it can make you look uneducated or it might insult someone by accident. Avoid bias such as gender, age, and cultural bias. The definition of bias is a preconception about a member of a group. Use the active voice. Using the active voice will help you better communicate and get your message across. There are two voices. Active voice, the subject of your sentence is described by the verb, and passive voice, the subject your sentence is not described by the verb. Writing high-impact messages. Business people read messages day in and day out. Writing a high-impact message is no easy task. Steps to writing a high-impact message. Strike the right tone. Don't make grammar groups. Use block paragraphs. And use heading and bulleted lists whenever appropriate. Information on high-impact messages. Striking the right tone.
She can't wear gold.
There are a few guidelines that you can follow to strike the right tone. Use common words and situations. Use the active voice. Use personal pronouns. And use contractions. Don't make grammar groups. Making grammatical errors when speaking or writing in a business will make distractions and make you sound less educated. Information on high-impact messages continues. Using blocked paragraphs. The three elements of using blocked paragraphs are use single spacing, double space between paragraphs, do not intend the first sentence of your paragraph. Using heading and bulleted lists. Using headings and bulleted lists can help your readers stay on task and help better understand what your point is. But using them at the wrong time can undo what you are trying to use them for. Successful verbal presentation. In any business, having a successful verbal presentation is very important when it comes to spreading a message to a group of people. Important things when making these successful presentations are opening, body, close. Successful verbal presentation continues. Questions, visual aids, Google presentations, handling nerves, handling hostility, incorporating humor, a spot on the back wall, and delivery.